that you had to do all that work this late, but god damn, did you miss a race?
Oh, man. I can't wait to talk about it. I'll live vicariously.
Yeah.
No, that's great. I need to start drinking on this exact beer right here. Excellent. All right. And this second beer will be right there.
So I don't know. I think I'll save what this whole experiment was for the actual show.
Oh yeah. I'll help intro it. Yeah, this will be fun. Brandon has no clue.
What?
What?
No. I was actually so there's two things.
Oh, okay.
Brandon does have a clue about the experiment we did with the Zoom, which it needs to be in there somewhere because we just need to talk about how we would do it again a little bit better way, and the things that failed and the things that went well.
Yes.
Because I think we're going to do it again because it was fun.
It was fun. Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
It was the perfect trial and error.
It was the exact race to do it with.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
100%.
I would definitely be into like watch a race with other people while I can't watch a race with other people. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So did you already go live? Because Patrick said he's already watching.
Yes, and let me tweet it out.
Oh, there you are. Let me shut my volume off. There we go.
Okay. All right. There's that. Well, I don't want to delay us any further. Y'all ready to podcast?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me tweet this nonsense out. Get
Sweet.
this going.
Sweet.
We are live.
Let's see. I'll move YouTube over to the other screen.
Oh, yeah, I need to pull that up.
We can talk about that too, because Rusty, I went full nerd on this.
Sweet.
In terms of the things that are available to me that I know how to use.
Well, good. Good. I think I have I've got the music ready. I've got the recording ready. Sweet. Well, Brandon, you ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
Sherwin?
Yep, giddy up.
All right, here goes nothing. We are recording now. Welcome, y'all! That's right. This is the Pregame Engineer Tailgate Mayor Racing Podcast, episode number 277. It's February 9th, 2021. I'm Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace in the PTM Podcast Studio in Atlanta, Georgia. And before we get any further, we're going to go ahead and bring on our guest tonight. Well, the co-host of the PTM Podcast out of the North Carolina studio, Pregame Engineer Andrew Sherman. What's up, dude?
Skew, and skew.
That's right.
We're going to have a fun show tonight.
It's going to be fun. And the person who's completely in the dark on what in the hell we're doing, welcome from Lab Traffic Podcast at Lab Traffic PC. He's been on the show a million times, beyond postdoctorate, everything. He's, whatever you call it, residency and blah, blah, blah. 8th time on the show, Mr. Brandon Crowd. What's up, Brandon?
What's up, boys? How are ya?
We are doing well. Well, Brandon, we've got a very special show for you tonight.
Yes.
It's
right.
something that, we've gone back and forth just kind of laughing before about how we have very few notes when we are doing the show. And we poke fun, all in good fun, at you and your 12-page dissertation and everything.
Yep. True.
So what we decided tonight was that we would have absolutely no show notes whatsoever. So
Perfect.
if you're part of the PTM posse and you're an official sponsor, you might be going, hey, where's my show notes tonight? Just this once, everybody, we're going to just not do it and see what happens and have some fun. And I'm going to start the fun. Now, y'all, I don't have any notes up, period. Like, usually I've got the notepad with the notes and everything, and I have my read and all that. I'm going to do the read without notes, just to start. How about that?
Oh, I can't wait to see how many names you can pull up.
I am going to botch this completely. Now, just to prove to anyone watching on YouTube or elsewhere, I'm just going to take this mask that I have and put it over my face just so you know I am not looking at anything. How stupid does that look? Yep, that looks stupid. and we're going to try this. You know what? Matter of fact, let me play some music while I'm doing it. We'll start the music up here. And yeah, here goes nothing. I'm going to completely botch it. Here we go. This podcast sponsored by you. That's right. Go to patreon.com/PTM. Join the What You Drink Club for as little as $1 a month. Get that free koozie. Get you some stickers too. Best part is every cent in 2021, we're once again donating to sponsored drivers. So join the PTM posse today. Be a part of the sport you love. Sincerest apologies to the following people and the ones that I miss. Aaron Burton, Robert Keplinger, Coleman, Clam, Eric Kettner, Ryan Kiefer, Patrick Cleary, Jeff Brown, Brandon Crowd, Kathleen McDonald, Stacey Wright, Ricky Porter, John Bob, Les Miller, Patrick Johnson, Crystal Smoke, Fred Rosado, Chad Knapp, and Stacey Coleman, Harry Posania. Help me out, guys. Who else?
Jumpy Bob.
Jumpy Bob, we got him. Who?
Lisa Chanana.
Lisa Chanana.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. There's and sincerest apologies to anyone in the
amazing.
Official PTM posse who
what
I
was that
missed.
fantastic Spanish / and or Italian or Portuguese name guy that showed up recently?
Oh yeah. Oh, shoot. Oh, dang it. I'm lost. I know exactly who you're talking about too. And AJ Evangelista. That's who. I just remembered. Oh man. Well, I appreciate y'all entertaining me in that respect. We had a big race tonight. Before we get to that, you know what we got to start with. Brandon, what you drinking on?
I am drinking on the classic Vodka Red Bull Club soda. Cheers to being back on the show. Cheers to Tom Brady's 7th ring. And cheers to the 2021 NASCAR season.
Cheers. Let's keep going. Sherwin, what you got?
Well, in honor of Brandon being from Michigan, I have a nice little New Holland glass, but it is slam full of Fireball. 'Cause why in the hell not?
Just have at it. I love it. We're having to start a little late tonight due to who am I going to blame this week? I always deflect the blame when it's my fault. So I don't know. We're blaming definitely blaming Brandon here.
Fair enough.
So.
Well, he and I just did 2 hours on the old deal. We'll get to that.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, absolutely. If you have something for the non-existent show sheet, just bring it up. But I figured I would start with this. And Brandon, it sounds like you've already answered the question because I don't think we've talked all year about football. But I was going to ask you this weekend, Tom Brady, of course, and Gronk and pretty much the whole company. Are you buying Tampa Bay gear or are you burning everything at the cross?
No, so it's funny. I almost bought a Tom Brady T-shirt. I almost bought a Tampa Bay thing because I was, of course, going to root for him to get 7. I'm still bitter over the fact that Eli Manning stole 2 Super Bowl rings from Tom Brady a few years back. So he needed one more. I love the storyline behind it. I'm still a Patriots guy. I still have all my Patriots gear. I have not bought anything Tampa Bay yet. But this Super Bowl was fun. It was, we had a little, a couple neighbors came over. Online sports betting is now up. So, I had $20 on heads. I had $20 on they weren't going to have a touchback on the opening kickoff. I got deep into the parlay bets or the prop bets for the Super Bowl.
Nice work. Nice work. Sherwin, what'd you do Super Bowl?
Oh, I watched it right here at the apartment. Just me, myself, and Irene.
What'd y'all make? So I made, I tell you, I finally got smoked chicken wings down because I've done them a few times, and they always come out good, but they're either like a little, I don't know, slimy on the outside or something or whatever else. But this time I smoked them and then took them off and then cranked the grill up, which on the Big Green Egg just means open everything. And then grilled them just for a minute, just real quick, just crispy it up, and put a thin sauce on it at the end just to get some heat on them. Man, I've been eating on them wings. I just finished them off today, but I've been eating on them for 3 days. So I was pretty proud of my wings this weekend. Brandon?
I did so I smoked a pork butt on Saturday night because Lindsay did like a big thing of nachos. And then I did wings at halftime, and I did 3 different rubs. And I threw them on the smoker at 225 for an hour. And then I pulled them off, and I went spray butter very thin on them all and stuck them in the oven at like 500 for about 10 minutes just to crisp them up. They were delicious.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Sherwin, you had some meatballs going, didn't you?
Yep, I did Italian sausage meatballs in spaghetti sauce, and they were very good. Sauteed them first, got a little crisp on each side, and then put them in the sauce and let them just sort of simmer.
That sounds like a plan. I don't think I mentioned it. I'm drinking a Miller Lite right here, so that's fun. Yes, and on deck is his friend, another Miller Lite.
So, one of these.
Yeah, one of them.
So Rusty, I'm gonna have to figure out, because apparently Natty Light has released to only North Carolina and South Carolina a limited issue of their original can.
No.
Which is a lot like what Miller Lite did.
Yeah.
And it looks very similar. So when I stumble across some of that, I will send some down to you.
Okay. I'm looking it up right now. Vintage can designs for the Carolinas, indeed. So this, old school logo. You know what's funny is, I'll tell you where I recognize that logo is in my parents' fridge growing up. They do not care for anything that has any flavor in it. And so Natural Light bottles is what was in the fridge. So growing up, that's the logo that I remember seeing the most right there.
My dad was a Milwaukee's Beast drinker growing up when I grew up as a kid. Like,
oh man.
Yeah. My dad's not a big beer drinker, but when he does drink beer, like he'll stock all of the local stuff for me in the outside, in the garage fridge. So there's a ton of like IPAs and stuff that are like Atlanta based. But what he wants to drink when he's at the golf course, like when he finishes a round of golf, what he wants to drink is a Miller High Life Light.
Nice.
That is like his favorite beer to drink.
I've been trying to find some more good day drinking stuff, but I mean it is hard to get any better than a Miller Lite. Just sitting around the campfire, or just sitting around the camp, I should say, because it's not nighttime yet, and you're like, well, I don't want to pour a drink because I know what's going to happen when I do that.
Well, how many damn Miller Lights did we drink floating in the water at Lake Martin?
Oh, good God. All of them.
Every single one they had.
Yeah. Well, fellas, y'all just did something pretty special, pretty cool, while Rusty was sitting here trying to do some work. But enlighten me. How was it? Let's start off with just the administrative part, and then we'll get into the race.
Well, so I signed up for one of the pay tiers so that I could host and potentially have as many as 100 people join.
On like a Zoom, right?
Yep, on Zoom.
Okay.
And we had 2 people sustained. We did get hacked because we posted the link publicly. So I had to chase away some assholes.
Yeah, we did.
But being the host, I had the click button that says, "You gone."
Yeah.
But I think what we decided was that we maybe would try that like once a month, and maybe the trucks race would be a good place for that opportunity because it's so much shorter, than a cup race.
Yeah.
And then what we would do is we would be really advanced in the marketing side of it on Twitter and say, look, if you want to play, just DM us and we'll send you the link instead of broadcasting the link with the password across.
Problematic.
Yeah.
Like I even got an email from Zoom that said, hey, you did a thing that's probably going to create a problem.
I love the experimental nature of all this stuff.
We're like, perfect.
I'm going to post this link, and then Zoom itself is like, hey, dude, you might not want to do that. And you're like, listen, this is how we roll.
We don't there's no, I mean, it's reckless abandon, right? I mean, we just dive in there. And I mean, that's exactly the way we started this show was we're just going to dive in here and just see what happens. I don't know. And, we ran
I don't know if
into
we'll have enough time.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know if we'll have enough time.
Well, I didn't get any props yet, but I was somewhat proud of at least doing I'll call it half a read. Not read for the
Dude,
call out.
You killed it.
Well, I think you got most of them. Who knows? I mean, I don't think anybody's going to be pissed off, especially the way you did it was hilarious.
I did
with the face mask over your eyes.
I did because until we get an actual race to talk about, my format's been a lot looser and my show notes are a lot looser than normal. And so when I recorded with Studwell and Newdorf yesterday for the weather segment, I'm like, I don't need to write anything down. I know their names. I know their Twitter handles. And I tell you what, we did 7 minutes in the ditch and we had to do take 2 because they gave me no content. Like it was fire burning. We were burning up like hard. And I'm like, guys, I can't use any of this. We went off the deep end. We're recutting this. And then we got some quality content.
So. Oh man. See, that's the stuff that people want though.
It's funny. I thought about it. I'm like, man, this would be like the perfect thing to upload to YouTube as like my first thing outside of the show, just to kind of be like, hey, here's some unique content that you wouldn't have saw or heard. I might have to do something like that down the road.
Yeah. Well, if you still have the content,
no, it's gone. It is.
She gone.
That will never be heard by anybody. I recorded over. I didn't give their chance for that to sustain life.
Deleted with prejudice.
Deleted with prejudice is the right way to say that. No, so to me, that's what's so much fun about this environment is you can just kind of do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, gentlemen, y'all were doing the Zoom video over the top of a whole race that just happened. So fill me in because I've been, working, doing all this bull crap. And apparently, and Sherwin texts me and says, this is the best clash that I've ever seen. And I'm like, well, this sucks to be me. So I need to live vicariously a little bit. Tell us about what happened. Road course, first off.
Brandon, do you want to go first or do you want to let me?
I mean, it was incredible, and I have gone on the soapbox pretty profoundly of saying how I am not a fan of, whether we're talking basketball, NASCAR, football, all-star, non-point, and nothing that's not worth anything but a paycheck, I'm not a big fan of. And this, maybe because we didn't have the full, practice for it, leading up and it was condensed, everything was so perfect about tonight and the race, the quality of the race. There were some wrecks, but like Sherwin said during the Zoom when we were doing that, we didn't tear up 20 cars. If you effed up, you effed up on your own. And the quality of the racing was just amazing. I cannot wait for 2 weeks from now when we're doing this for real at the road course.
There you go. And we had some contact there at the end, Blaney and Elliott. I'm just reading headlines at this point. Sherwin, your take on the race.
Well, so I echo all of Brandon's sentiments about it being awesome. I thought this was, especially if we were going to commit as a sport to being on that road course with a points-paying cup race, this is the way to do it because it was every bit as exciting as any plate race you've ever watched, but we didn't destroy 20 chassis. Mm-hmm. But we still had weird stuff happen, and we had people pushing things to the limit. And I want to bring up a previous guest, Brian Murphy, talking about we show up at the racetrack to win the race. All right. There ain't no practice. There's no test session at a race that pays a paycheck. And that's what we saw. And even though, of course I wanted Chase to win, but it was so neat that like Blaney had pushed his brakes to the point where they didn't work anymore.
Yeah.
And that's how they ended up wrecking. And so Kyle Busch ends up winning the race because he's running third, and they get boogered up coming out of the last, chicane. And it's like, man, this was really actually a pretty awesome race. Like when it all boils down, through the field. I mean, and lots of people got exposure. Reddick had a pretty good run. It just had a lot better feel to it to me than watching. What we saw last year was 6 cars finished on the lead lap and 8 cars actually finished the race. Mm-hmm. Well, tonight, everybody that didn't tear up a significant motor or drivetrain part finished the race. I guess, so that's not fair to Truex. He did break left front A-frame, and so he was done. But so we really only lost 2 cars out of the field.
Cole Custer, right? The other one?
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's like, why wouldn't we just sort of keep doing it? Like, if we're going to commit to racing on that course for a Cups point pan race, this makes so much sense.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love it.
So how about, just reading through the finishing order here, Kyle Busch, Chase Elliott, Joey Logano, Tyler Reddick. So how did Tyler Reddick end up in there? And it looks like he even led a lap. Hamlin led a bunch of laps, led the most laps, it looks like. Kyle Busch led the one that mattered.
So Blaney started on the pole, and it was a pill draw, as it always is with the Busch Clash. And Blaney wheel hopped into one of the corners, and Hamlin passed him, and then the thing that really started everything from there, like the cascade, was Joey Logano hit one of the turtles so hard he wrecked his splitter.
Yeah.
I don't mean ripped it off, but he bent it up real bad. It was not good, and it was early, so they pitted early to try to get ahead of the tire strategy. But the thing we saw was that tires mattered a lot. They mattered a whole lot, and that's due to Goodyear probably tried something with bringing a little bit softer tire, knowing it was a shorter race, and B, we brought the higher horsepower motor. And damn it, if it didn't work, awesome.
So to piggyback off that, Sherwin, I know we had said during the Zoom thing, tires mattered, and you had even said they only needed to mathematically pit one time. And we saw guys pit way more, 2-3 times, just because of the fact that tires mattered. Now, what I'm curious to see is this was a shorter race, so the reverse pit strategy of a road course because the stages didn't play a role. I hope that doesn't impact things negatively in 2 weeks.
Well, that was the other thing. So that's you just said something that matters a lot. They did not have stages in this race.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was only 25-mile race.
Yep.
I think when we finally hit the calculator and actually did the real math, 35 laps, 3.8 miles each. And we didn't have those, fake stops. And to me, that matters. On road courses, we may need to adjust the way we approach the whole stage thing. I don't think we need to stop because it keeps teams from being able to be really aggressive. Because you remember, it's not been all that long since we were at Sonoma and or Watkins Glen, and somebody would pit on like lap 3.
Yep.
Just to get ahead of the curve.
Yep.
So that's something that needs to be considered, and I hope NASCAR people are paying attention.
What other things might NASCAR have learned from this one that you might just go, that was interesting. We should figure out how to do that more often, because that's one of them right there. And people have been standing on soapboxes for the last probably 2 years, I would say, about not having stages in the road course races. And I think this is a proof of concept right here for that. especially going into, what do we have, 7 this year?
Yep.
Yeah. So do you anticipate that, this being an influence into that? And 2, what other things might we've learned? Tires matter. That was one that I've heard from y'all.
Well, yeah, tires matter, and the higher horsepower. I mean, you can bring that to the road course, because how many people did we see overdrive a chicane? Like, a lot, because they came in way too freaking hot. So,
well, how many times did we talk about during the second run, like the second stretch, where it looked like Martin Truex had way too much rear brake dialed in his car? So was it tight, or was he making the wrong decision? It was interesting either way from a technical perspective, because he was locking up the rears that whole second stretch.
They were smoking.
And it's like, and they were doing the things that you would expect. And this is why I will throw it back again to Brian Murphy about, we show up to win the race, which means they all knew exactly what their capabilities were. And if you saw the end of the race, and Rusty, you'll get a chance to watch it if you want to, Blaney's rotors were about to come apart. Like, it was slinging sparks. I don't know if he was about to throw a pad, or if he'd already thrown a pad and he didn't have a pad left. But like, that car was at its end, at the end of the race. And it's like, that's how intense those guys, they're like, okay, we got to run 125 miles. We're going to build 125 miles worth of race car, and we're going to race it like it only needs to go 125 miles.
Yeah. What I love is what Brandon was saying. The combination of all these things, it goes back to what Brad Keselowski said years ago and continues to say, which is, we need cars that outperform the drivers in a way, in terms of horsepower, in terms of tires, braking, all that stuff. Like, if you're flat out the whole way through the course, and you're flat out on the brakes when you need to be, and the tires are, they last longer than the fuel, then what's the point?
Yeah.
You're just, where's the talent, right? But if you have something where you can just dive bomb a corner and you will pay for it, or you can Jeff Gordon up some tires at the start of the run, or whatever else. I mean, that, I love the strategy part, and that makes it so that the talent stands out, and the brains stand out, as opposed to just the brawn. And so I really love that stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, so the thing about it, and this is where I've come way around the circle about road course racing, is if you think about why this sport even exists, it's because of running dirt roads that go right and left, trying to outrun cops, running booze.
Yeah.
So running right and left is actually really fun, and these guys are amazing at it.
Yeah.
They're really, really good. I would love to see the Rolex 24 open up a 5th division that is NASCAR stock cars. Whether you want to show up with an Xfinity chassis, or you want to show up with a truck, or you want to show up with a cup car, but to participate in that event and let these engineers and these car builders shine at saying, okay, well, when we hyper focus on running 150 miles or 200 or 300 or 400 or 500 or 600 miles, we know how to operate all those spaces. We know what parts to choose and how to set the car up so that it will last through all those things. I would love, now that NASCAR totally owns IMSA, for us to see a stock car series be a part of the Rolex.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned
cool.
the NASCAR footprint there with IMSA and all the lower dirt series and stuff. I was perusing the NASCAR.com recently, and headlines were totally different than what you'd have seen 3 years ago. 3 years ago, it's digging deep. If you scroll far enough, like, you're just getting into, okay, what did Samantha Bush wear to the race today kind of stuff. And now they're celebrating the wins on local dirt track series, and they're talking about IMSA. I mean, everything is in there, and it's pretty cool. It's almost overwhelming because you see something, you're like, yeah, I want to see that, or ooh, I want to see that. I want to see that. So I like the hype that they're building with, like I said, the reach that they have with all these other series now.
There's so much content out there. There's not enough time in the week to get either all the racing that you want to get in, all of the podcasting you want to get in, let alone you want to throw in a basketball game or something like that on TV. I mean, there is just so much content out there to take in that, you are at the point of having to pick and choose what you really want to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. I can still hear you. I got to grab ice, boys. I came ill prepared, and I apologize, but I am going to walk 30 feet to the freezer.
Have at it. Well, Sherwin, with Kyle Busch not having a single win last year and pretty much being down in the dumps to start this year with this win, how much Mo is that? Do you are you seeing, this is interesting either? I mean, we know he's great at road courses, right? But what does that mean for the Daytona 500? What does that mean for Atlanta? What does that mean elsewhere? Do you think this is like that kick in the pants that they need?
Well, and this is no shot at you, but he did get the one win late in the season. But
fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't even paying attention to him. Might be.
No, but I mean, how could it not be momentum, right? Like, just the excitement of having, hey, we got the checkered flag, we got the check.
Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, we're in this thing. We get a reset, we get to start over, we got a new year, and I don't know what it'll end up meaning long term for the season, but I there's no better way to start than by getting the checkered flag and the check.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and taking the bow and all the rest of it. And how about Chase? I mean, running second and bumping and banging at the end. He's right back. Like it wasn't like, hey, I got this trophy and put it in the case and go drink beer for 3 months and whatever. He's right back in the thick of it and feels like he wants it as much as any other time.
Well, that and the fact that he and Ryan Blaney both in different silos have talked about, when asked about being good friends outside of the racetrack. And it's like, yeah, but on the racetrack, it's different because we want to beat each other. And I'm sure Chase is buying beers right now for Blaney and his team and saying, yep, I'm sorry I wrecked you.
Mm-hmm.
But you would have done it to me, and I hope you would have done it to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because the only thing that mattered tonight was the checkered flag. And because that check doesn't mean as much to Ryan and Chase as it does to the team.
Mm-hmm.
Because the team gets a piece of that. And you want to reward your team for performance. So I think that just the fact that, and there's a lot of video of them chatting, and both of them had very cordial interviews. Chase was apologetic. Ryan was accepting. And I mean, that probably shows the degree of the friendship, but I'm sure that Ryan is not very impressed with Chase right now, but that will probably be rectified tonight.
Mm-hmm. So taking a detour here, Sherwin, you had I think texted me or when we were on the phone call earlier when I said, hey, let's do a show with no notes. That'll be funny. Let's troll Brandon. But you had said to me about Denny Hamlin getting a new sponsor for 2021. First time in a long time you're not going to see FedEx on that car.
Yeah, I mean, so he's got a second partner now, and I don't know how much that's related to the 2311 thing, but I imagine it probably is. There is some crossover there in a lot of ways, but it will be first time we haven't seen FedEx be wall to wall with Denny. So, I mean, good for them for keeping themselves whole, because that's one of the most profitable sponsorships that has existed in the last 10 years in NASCAR. I mean, Denny makes a dump truck load of money. I don't know what it is. I would suspect it's probably $11 million a year. It's not baseball. Yeah. It's not quarterback in football, but it's still a boatload of cash.
Yeah. Yeah. Brandon, what do you think about the sponsorships this year and really going forward? I mean, it seems like we have a lot more of the micro sponsorships, and I guess each team just about has to hire somebody now to go get this stuff. We talked last week or the week before about Larson has like 5 races right now. Now he's in a special circumstance, obviously,
sure.
But there's a lot more of these. I call them micro sponsors or micro transaction, whatever you want to call it. Which, by the way, is still like multi-million-dollar deals. So say what you will.
Well, yeah, when you look at, I mean, long are the days. Denny Hamlin is going to be one of the last few to have had these long-term sponsors.
Yeah, even Jimmy.
Jimmy, losing Lowe's,
mm-hmm.
Who would have thought, I'm sure, I doubt the drivers would ever admit it, but for every new sponsor, that's just more commitment time that they've got to do, from a appearance obligation, autograph at the track, shaking hands, doing this, versus just having the one primary sponsor and can condense all of that. You got to, shake hands and kiss babies for every new sponsor that you have and the tracks, so that probably gets tiresome on the drivers, when you've got 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 sponsors throughout the year. Now you throw, you talk Denny Hamlin and you mentioned, all right, he's got those obligations as a driver. He now has those same obligations as an owner now with a completely different team and those sponsors. So there's that piece of it. But then you look at the new sponsors coming into the sport, which I think is awesome. And not just sponsors, but investors into the sport. Pitbull. I know you guys talked about this a little bit last week or the week before, but Michael Jordan. I love that. Whether you like Pitbull's music or not, it's a new investor into the sport that brings a brand new audience, and any new butts in the seats, any new viewerships on the TV because of these high caliber people like Michael Jordan coming into the sport. How is that bad? I love everything about it. The trajectory is upward and rightward, and I love all of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When you are a brand,
yeah,
just by yourself, you are a brand. Your participation is going to attract attention.
Yeah. Yeah. Gentlemen, here is a sound that I've been waiting to play for whatever it is, 3 months, 2 months, whatever. So here we go. We're gassing it up.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Daytona 500. How excited. What are y'all doing? Brandon, what are you doing?
We're having a small gathering, probably the same menu as this past weekend for the Super Bowl. But there's some people that just love to come over and hang out and watch me get really excited about cars on the racetrack, and have embraced it, and some have become, fans that they're tuning in on Sunday. Some are, just Daytona fans, which is all great, and looking forward to it. Can't wait to do some normal stuff with the show. Can't wait to get the Lucky Dog segment back. Can't wait to talk some fantasy. Like, I am so geeked.
It's funny, as podcasters, I feel like this is the right amount of off season. I have exactly that much content to talk about before I need some more races to fill some time here. Otherwise, I'm just going to be like spinning quarters on the table and asking people for heads or tails.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be fun. And so I'm getting on an airplane on Thursday, and I'm flying to Indianapolis to hang out with Brett Morris, who I nicknamed Wooderson from Dazed and Confused. He nicknamed me Daryl Sweetwater the Third. So we traded nicknames. But I'm going up there and we're gonna have a good time. Thursday night we're gonna watch the duels. Friday night we're gonna watch the trucks. Saturday afternoon we're gonna watch Xfinity, and then Sunday we're gonna watch the Daytona 500, and that's gonna be fun.
That's fantastic.
And then I'm gonna fly back on Monday.
Good call on the Monday flight.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you got going on, Rusty?
You know what? I got to decide on that. Like, I wouldn't say we went all out or anything for Super Bowl. You know, I smoked the wings or whatever, but for me, it's all food based. So it's like, well, I'm gonna watch a race. So what am I gonna make around it? What am I, what's the production gonna be? So I'll be here. I'll be watching the race, and something's gonna be on the grill, and there's no doubt about that. So just got to figure that ordeal out. Really, you go to the local Kroger or whatever, go to the bargain bin, see what's that needs to be smoked today or frozen today, and see where the old divining rod points you, I guess. So,
well, the thing I'm looking forward to is something that the last time I was in Indianapolis that Brett introduced me to is called ice beer.
Ice beer,
and what that is his favorite Mexican restaurant has a beverage in a big old 24-ounce mug that is half beer and half of a frozen lime margarita.
Ooh,
and it is delicious.
Okay,
it is a good drink. It sounds weird, but it's a good drink.
That sounds like one that, as it melts, you get a little bit of that flavor in there, and then once you're done with the beer, now you've got a whole margarita.
Well, you've seen those frozen margaritas that have the little pony Corona in it, that they stuff it down in the bottom, and so it just sort of force feeds as you go. It's that, but in a redneck sized mug, and it just starts off that way.
Yeah. It was funny. This was in 2009 or 2010 or something, and me and the wife went to Miami for our anniversary, and that was the first time I had seen one of those. So on day one, you see one of those gigantic margaritas with 2 Coronas stuck in it, and you're like, what in the hell are they drinking? Now, 2 days later, you're like, hey, give me another one of them margaritas with the beers in it.
It's that. I was like, I looked at him kind of a little bit. And he's like, no, you want one of these, trust me. And I'm like, all right. And I put it to the mouth, and I go, yep, I wanted this.
That's exactly what I wanted. Perfect. Gentlemen, let's talk about this race. There's so much to watch. I haven't been as hype for the number of people that I want to watch, and I don't want to. I'm like, do I want to spout off everybody right now and we talk about them, or one at a time? I'll tell you the names, or the first name that comes to mind to me is Bubba Wallace, and what he's going to do in this race. How he's with the new team, new everything, a lot of eyeballs on him at this point, and a lot of new fans who are going to tune in because of what he's got going on, and with Michael Jordan and everything else. Chase Elliott, what's he going to do, coming off second place here and being in contention for the win at the Clash? Other people, Kyle Busch, having come off the win, what's he going to do in a regular season thing? Turn that around a little bit. Kevin Harvick, with all those wins last year, what's he looking at this year? And Brandon, I'm sure you got plenty to say about that. Kyle Larson, I mean, you want to talk about spotlights? There's so many to have here. Bubba and Larson, I feel like, are two for very different reasons, but in some ways the same reason. And then I'll throw Ross Chastain in there too, in terms of people that Rusty specifically is watching here. Maybe not everybody, but I'm obviously me and Sherwin big fans there, so excited for that. So that's kind of running down my list. But Brandon, what are you looking? Who are you looking out at?
So, I mean, everybody you said, right? There are so many stories to watch. And I say it all the time on my show. I love the narratives, and there are so many narratives that are circling around the sport right now with all of those drivers. The one for me that I am excited to see is just because hometown boy that's been on the show a few times is Erik Jones in the 43. Like, you know, was it the driver? Was it the team? Is it both? You know, what's new scenery for both Bubba and Erik Jones going to do? I'm really excited to watch both of those guys because there's a little cross there with the team, with Bubba leaving the 43, Erik going to the 43. I'm so excited about that. I am stoked for Tyler Reddick. I think he's got the opportunity to rebrand RCR and get them going in an upward trajectory, which I'm excited about that. There was one other I was going to say that I'm drawing a blank on at the moment, but yeah, I mean, those are the two off the top of my head that I'm really excited to see what they're able to do.
Well, I think the one you probably lost track of is not in Cup. It's John Hunter Nemechek
Yes.
and Kyle Busch Motorsports to race a truck. That's going to be a very interesting thing to see because, you know, the general public looks at that as a demotion, but it's not. He's going from 22nd place, 25th place equipment in the Cup Series to number one equipment in the trucks.
John Hunter Nemechek's 22 years old and has raced full time in all three series. Like, the kid's got experience. He has not had the right ride, and he's about to strap into the right ride.
Yes, that a lot of that.
Yeah.
So that's a good. You know, the Xfinity Series, man. I'm telling you, I hope I'm wrong, but I think the Xfinity Series is probably going to take a back seat to the Truck and Cup Series. There's just so much going on in Cup with the new I mean, the tracks are obviously across all three series, but with all of the driver changes, the new teams and all of that, plus just the excitement of Friday night truck racing for the most part, you know, and with the fact that the Xfinity Series has lost a lot of its, you know, it's lost Ross Chastain now to a full-time Cup ride. It's lost Tyler Reddick. It's lost Cole. I mean, there are so many big names that have, you know, stepped up to that next level that, yeah, I mean, the Xfinity Series is maybe in a rebuild, so to speak, in terms of people getting to know the next few up and comers. I mean, you've got Cindric that's sticking around there this year. You've obviously got, you know, Justin Allgaier, you know, Justin Haley's probably going to be the next one to watch. And you got AJ Allmendinger that's racing full time now in Xfinity. You know, so that'll get some eyes on that, which is awesome. But yeah, man, there's just so much hype around everything. I
we said it.
Yeah, go ahead, Rusty.
Well, I was. Let's talk about Kaulig Racing for a moment. I mean, Dinger, and they, I think, recently signed Jeb Burton. So, I mean, this is they're putting together a heck of a roster to be Kaulig Racing, and I'm looking forward to that. We talked about last time or 2 times ago about how Xfinity really stepped it up this year in terms of watchability / whatever, and we were talking about how, you know, very much related to the Cup drivers, you know, being less and less of a force in there. And I've turned it around. You know, I at one point was, hey, the Cup drivers are what's keeping it alive, and I will admit being wrong about that. Now, it was a slow moving target to the other side, but you know, it's proven itself as one that can be sustained. And when you're seeing things like the Dinger and Burton, and seeing the returning folks like Allgaier, and you talked about Cindric, and shoot, I mean, just Noah Gragson, Justin Haley, you know, Hemmer. There's so many here to talk about. So yeah,
and just talking about Kaulig, and knowing, and everybody pretty much knowing that they want to be a Cup team. The fact that Dinger's going to run, I think, 6 of the 7 road course races in a cup car for Colleague. That's pretty neat.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And I know that's sort of an adjunct to what the conversation was, but yeah, I mean there's a lot of things to be excited about in all three series. But I think Rusty actually made a really good point there about Xfinity might take a back seat to trucks and Xfinity, or trucks and Cup, because the Xfinity program is kind of in a bubble right now in terms of who's moving up and who's not, because we've had a wide vacation of talent up into Cup.
Yeah.
And there's a bubble there for people to move into. Now we have some really interesting things that are going to happen there. We have Tony Breedinger is going to be running some truck races. We have Natalie Decker is going to run some Xfinity races. That's going to bring some eyeballs. I don't know how that's going to turn out in terms of the actual race performance, but it's going to bring some eyeballs, which is good. But I think we got a good season ahead of us, fellas. I really do.
When I was talking with Striegel for the show, I said to him, I go, if you are claiming to be a fan and can't find something to be excited about the 2021 NASCAR season across all three series, there's so much between the new tracks, the new schedule, driver changes. I mean, the new car to look forward to. If you got to go that far, I mean, you're not a fan if you can't find something to get hyped up about.
I think Sherwin kind of said it, but I'll even amend it a little bit. Sherwin, you said we've got a hell of a season to look forward to. I'd say we got a hell of a 3 seasons to look forward to this time around in terms of what all's going on. And then on top of that, all the stuff we talked about with the other series that NASCAR's gobbling up and being able to work through that. I can't wait to talk to Cone some more about that.
Yeah, no kidding. And never mind the fact that we've had the first time that the most popular driver has won the championship in the Cup Series. And it just so happens that that's our guy. But even if it wasn't, it still would be very significant to discuss. And the last time that happened was when his dad did it. Mm-hmm. So we were able to sort of pull back in some of that older crowd that was like, yeah, I don't think I like what NASCAR is doing anymore. Well, but now we have this legacy thing going on. So why don't you just stick around for a minute and just watch for a minute and see what happens?
Well, and the hype, doesn't stop with the other series. How about in Cup? We talked about it before. It looks like 44 or 45 entries will be in the Cup race. Or in the Cup, attempt to race. So the stuff that's coming up matters a lot in terms of who is in and who's out, battling for, there's 8 cars battling for 4 spots, essentially, after the charters. So a lot to pay attention to.
Well, yeah, that and Priest doesn't have a charter anymore. Mm-hmm. So Priest is going to have to make every race on time or points, and it sounds like we're only going to qualify 8 times this year, so he's going to have to score points. So that's going to change the way he races the Daytona 500 if he gets in, to keep JTG Doherty whole on 2 cars.
Brendan, you were saying?
Oh, I was just going to say, I remember one of the things I was going to say was I know you mentioned Kevin Harvick a minute ago, and I asked Jeff Striegel, I said, is 2021 going to be the redemption tour for Kevin Harvick? And he about lit my ass on fire for calling this a redemption year for Kevin Harvick because he had 9 wins. And I said, listen, he got 9 wins. That was great. I said, but I bet he would have sacrificed 4 of those because he still would have made the playoffs if that would have meant getting him into the Final 4. So I think Kevin's got a fire under his ass, and we're going to see if he's still ready to make some noise at 44 45 years old.
Yeah.
I think he turns 45 during the season.
Yeah.
Well, when you said redemption year, and I chuckled, it was probably for the same reason that Jeff Striegel, lit you up for it, because I thought redemption for what in terms of overall performance throughout the year. But it's a good point. All that matters, but what matters not more but equally is those last 10 races. And so what gets you in that dance. So definitely look. I guess what I'm trying to say there is I'm not worried at all about what Kevin Harvick does during the regular season. He's going to come out with a couple wins. He's going to be in the playoffs. It's 27 or I guess 30 weeks if you count whatever off weeks and whatnot. It's 30 weeks from now when it matters to me what the answer to that question is.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're going to put a pin in that, and we'll talk about that down the road.
Yeah. So I want to make this quick because what I want to do is I want to recognize the fact that we're approaching 20 years from the first time I ever watched a NASCAR race.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what happened in that race because everybody knows how to do math and read a date. And what I want to say about Kevin Harvick is, can you imagine getting in that man's car and then winning 50 races and a championship? That is an absolutely phenomenal accomplishment.
Well, and I'll piggyback that and say on the all-time win list, it's Dale Sr. and Kevin Harvick. He is right underneath him in the all-time win list. His next guy to catch is him, and he's got, I don't know what now, I think 18 or 19 to tie him. It's so what Kevin's got, 55? I think Senior had 76.
Yeah, so he's got 21.
21. I mean, that's a hard that's a hard number to catch, knowing how old Kevin Harvick is. But
well, it's incredible to think about if you look back about how age structure used to work with this sport, because it's so much different than other sports. Is most guys that really went hard at it and have a really nice win total to their that's in their category or in their accolades, is most people did race into their 50s.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're not doing that. We're not doing that anymore because now they're all like NFL athletes. They're doing things that like now all of a sudden, yeah, there is something a 25-year-old can do that a 50-year-old just cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the sport is adjusting itself that way. But that to me is what sets Kevin Harvick apart, is that at his age, he's still winning a lot. And I mean, 9 wins in a season. Boy, that adds to a total. If you're talking about 55 wins, what the percentage is.
That's a good point.
Like that is very significant.
Yeah, that helped. That adjusted the curve a little bit.
Added the numbers a bit, but absolutely. I mean, we're still on an upswing. Like, we haven't seen a plateau, so we can only say we're on an upswing here. It's impressive, and I mean, shoot, coming off a Super Bowl like we just had with Ageless Wonders and whatnot,
right?
And there's no reason to believe that you can't be in top form in a sport at 44, 45 years old. So yeah, it's swinging the other direction.
And you can't say it hurt him because he does have so many wins, but there was that 3-year winless stretch for him right after he won the 2007 Daytona 500. Harvick didn't win again until April 2010. That was a long stretch. Even if you add 2 wins a year, that on average, that's what it'll hit, and so that 3-year stretch there hurt a little bit.
Well, think about this. and this is where it'll get real for RCR fans. Think about how many races RCR has won since Kevin Harvick left.
Oof.
It's rough.
Mm-hmm.
It's like five.
I was gonna say five. I mean, Austin Dillon's got what, 2 or 3? Ryan Newman's got 1, and maybe I'll say we're missing one.
Menard won at Indy.
Yeah, there you go. All right, there's your 5.
So I mean, that group as a whole has obviously suffered for a while on figuring out how to win races. And I don't know if it's driver or if it's organizational, but I mean, you think about, I ran around the yard with my hands on fire when I heard that Hendrick had hired Casey Kane to drive the number 5.
Oh, yeah.
5 car. I mean, I was outside of my mind. But he only won 6 races in, I think, 5 years with Hendrick is what it amounted to. And that's supposed to be the best there is, right? If we think about what the rest of that team is. So there's a lot more to it than that.
Mm-hmm.
And then Harvick goes over to Stewart-Haas, and then he's won most of his races with Stewart-Haas.
Yes. Yeah, and that's 2014 and beyond, and he's been racing since 2001.
Right, and he won the second race he ever started for them, and it was at Atlanta, which is interesting in a whole lot of other ways for us.
Sure.
But I mean, it just goes to show you how hard it is to do.
Yeah.
So, like, I was listening to Door Bumper Clear this week or today, and they talked about, Bubba says, I think we can win 2 races. And Freddie Kraft, who is his spotter, who is one of the hosts of Door Bumper Clear, said, you have to set goals that are beyond what your expectations are, and which he's 100% correct on that.
Mm-hmm.
Expectations should be to be in contention for a win. It's good to have the goal to say, I think we can win 2 races, but no new race team has ever won a race since like the 80s. It's since Hendrick won with Jeff Bodine in the original number 5 All-Star car, All-Star Racing. Before it even became Hendrick Motorsports, it was All-Star Racing. And so, you have to be really careful what bucket you put all these different things in, because it is so hard to win these races. Because you're going against teams that have 100 people that the only thing they studied in college was racing engineering.
Mm-hmm.
At some point, I think we'll get lucky enough that we will get, if NASCAR keeps the format that they're on with the 16 playoff drivers and the win and you're in mantra, we will have 17 winners. I yearn for that day.
Yeah.
Like I will lose my mind that day. I cannot wait for that day, because the day we have 17 winners, the NASCAR world will lose their shit, because it's going to be amazing. I want someone to win and not get in. I want that so bad. Not because I have a vendetta or anything. I want to see that many teams succeed and get a win. I think that would be amazing for the sport, the spread around, like let everyone's favorite driver get a taste. Like, I'm all about that. But I want that shakeup. I want to hear that conversation amongst the media and all that. Like, it's not winning you're in. It's the probability of winning you're in is pretty good. But mathematically, this Sunday, Daytona 500, just because you won, mathematically does not mean you're in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Mathematically,
Go ahead, Sherwin. Yep.
Rusty and I have talked about this ad nauseum offline.
Yeah.
That the most fun thing that could happen for NASCAR is for us to have somebody win a race and not make the playoffs.
Yes, yeah. And we've seen the other direction. Matt Crafton winning a championship without a win. So that, the trolley side of that worked out. Well, let's see the trolley side on the other end. Mm-hmm. And speaking of wins, gentlemen, it is time to do some picks for the Daytona 500. And let's say maybe some things you're looking out for, 36 races from now. I'm not going to say make a pick for the championship, but what you smelling in that direction? Brandon, why don't you kick us off?
I will. All right. First off, can I do a shameless plug?
Absolutely. We're off script tonight.
I am so pumped for this year's Lap Traffic Fantasy League because there are over 115 people that have registered for the league.
Wow.
And I hope all of them play. I think that is freaking awesome. And I am so pumped for the league this year. The level of competition is going to be awesome. And that just adds to the show. I love it because it's a thing that I've always built it around. And I am pumped for that. So
that's great.
I may have to dive in there.
Come on. You got time. Picks are due Thursday. Come on in.
Okay.
I'm in. How do I join, Brandon?
We will just shoot an email to fantasylaptraffic@gmail.com. I will tell you that I laid down a gauntlet challenge a couple weeks ago. A couple of the other NASCAR podcasts have joined. CJ Woolever's in. Jayski is in. There's going to be some shit going on in Lap Traffic Fantasy this year.
Hey, give me that email address one more time, sir.
fantasylaptraffic@gmail.com.
There we go. I'm writing it down. Here we go. I'm in. Rusty here.
Beautiful.
Give me a spot.
Yep.
Guaranteed win.
You've said shit enough times that I feel like I need to say shit.
Sorry.
Harvick sucks.
No, it's
That'll
fine.
happen at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday.
No,
it's
fine. I dropped an F-bomb on the last one, so it's
early. Early in the show, you did that.
I might have did that.
There we go, Brandon. It's in your inbox. Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
As long as there's no money being exchanged, I've been burned on that enough.
Nothing.
So
Got it.
I'll do it for the glory or anti-glory. So Brandon, give us that pick. Who you got for the Daytona 500? I've got my pick in mind, and so if it overlaps, then I'll just pick somebody else.
So because of the way the format of the show and the fantasy is, you can only pick a playoff driver once per segment. So I'm not wasting a playoff driver on the Daytona 500, but I'm going with somebody that I think realistically has got a shot, and that's Tyler Reddick. He's won plate races in the Xfinity Series. He did pretty well last year in plate racing. So I'm looking for Tyler Reddick to make a little noise and pick me up some points on Sunday.
There you go. Sherwin.
I like Brandon's strategy. That's good strategy. And I didn't do a whole lot of thinking about this, but I think who I'm going to pick is Ryan Preece.
Okay.
Ooh.
Dude.
There's some outside the box.
I might get zeros because he's not guaranteed to even start the race.
My heart skipped a beat because in old Rusty's mind was young Ryan Blaney. So
nice.
I'm going.
Well, that's who I wanted to pick, but I still want him for short tracks.
That'll be my podcast pick. Once I start up the Lap Traffic Fantasy and figure out what the rules are and whatnot, then I may have to, amend for the sake of that. That's points racing for me. My heart here is in Ryan Blaney.
Fair enough.
Awesome.
Love it.
Well, gentlemen, it's been a podcast. It's been an hour and change of absolutely no notes or anything. I still haven't brought up anything. Brandon, I appreciate you hanging out and being a good sport with it. This has been fun.
Yes, it was great.
Awesome. Gentlemen, let's close this thing out. Brandon, why don't you tell the folks where they can find you, what's coming up?
All right. Follow on Twitter at LatTrafficPC. Go check out tonight's show that was posted early today with Jeff Striegel. I'm pretty pumped. There's so much coming on. There's possibly 2 things coming down the pipe over the next week or 2 that are going to be huge. I got DraftKings sponsoring. Go sign up on DraftKings with code LAPPED. Manscaped's coming on. I'm going to have to do some funny and embarrassing reads with that over the next month, which is pretty cool. Season 5 is full throttle. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to have you guys as friends and your support. I love being on the show. Can't wait to have you guys on the show this year. Man, I'm pumped. It's 2021 NASCAR, baby. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Sherwin.
All right. Well, obviously you can find us at PETM Podcast, and you can find me at Pregame Engineer. I spend most of my time on PETM Podcast. But, yeah, we got a lot of things going on. You can see us over there on the old Instagram. And we do have a Facebook page, too. I don't pay a lot of attention to that, but it's there.
There you go. Well, y'all know what the deal is. PTMPodcast.com, at PTM Podcast on Twitter, and everywhere else where you can find us. Sherwin said it, at Pregame Engineer. Follow him on Twitter. You can find me at Tailgate Mayor Rusty Wallace on the Twitter as well. We can't wait to talk to y'all next week. It's Daytona 500. Let's have some fun. Y'all send us some pictures of what you're cooking and everything. This is going to be a great time. Looking forward to more of these Zoom calls and stuff, too. So be on the lookout, Bolo, and we'll talk to y'all over there. See you later.
See ya.
There it is. Still live on the YouTube, closing out a podcast of absolutely nothing.
Hey, I think we put some content out there.
That was fun.
That was fun.
I thoroughly
It's so
enjoyed
much
it.
fun to ad-lib and just do the stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we figured we would be able to do it. It's a matter of making sure that we weren't sitting here. It takes 277 episodes to be able to even try something like that. Because if you remember, we always talk about it. The first 20 episodes, we had long show notes, and we had like 12-second pauses where what do I do with my hands? How do I work? How do I do podcasts?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I lost my brain right there because I wanted to tell who we were going to have next. So for the YouTubers, we got Ricky Mast, who works for MLB.com for the Braves, next week to do the recap of Daytona and the preview to the Braves season. And then the week after that, we have Julia Landauer, who is absolute intellectual badass who happens to also race cars. And that's going to be fun.
Wrong with that. Excellent.
Nice.
Excellent. I'm just doing the IT stuff here.
And that's round 2 for her. That'll be the second time she's been on.
Masters.
Yep, getting her master's degree, and
Yes.
she is a smarty pants. And I'm going to remind her when she comes on that she was the very first person, and I'm excluding me because I didn't do it. She was the very first person to say fuck on our podcast, which to me is absolutely hilarious.
That's great.
It's still hilarious to me. It will always be hilarious to me that she was the first one to do it. And the thing is, if you go back and listen to that episode, you have to kind of know that that's what she said to pick it out, because I think we were halfway walking over the top of her when she said it, but it is funny.
That's great. That's fantastic.
But we are in PETM After Dark.
Yes. Oh,
So now
Rusty,
we can say whatever we want.
Rusty, you missed this, so I gotta tell you this. So, the sports bar, when you guys came up here to Michigan, my buddy, every year he throws a party for the staff the day after the Super Bowl, because that is his least busiest day of the year ever, is the Monday after a Super Bowl.
Well, that makes
so
sense.
He doesn't mind shutting the bar down. And so he lets us crash that, and it's free food and drink. And
awesome.
So we've gone to it the last few years, and we didn't get home to 1:30 in the morning today. And Brandon was feeling a little rough this morning. And we were partly that late because we had a hard time getting an Uber home. Like, there was just nothing. Like, it was a little snowy out. It was a Monday night at like midnight. Like, there was nobody driving frickin' Ubers. And so we just kept drinking until we found one. And I had told my boss, I said, listen, I'm not even contemplating starting work today before 10 o'clock. Like, that is not going to be happening. So Brandon was a little rough this morning.
That's funny.
So we gotta find that. So obviously, Brandon, you and I talked about this already, but we gotta find that tweet I sent with that video and repost it.
Yes,
because it has. The last time I saw it, it had 1,200 views.
That's fantastic.
And so, Rusty, I don't know if you ever saw this, because I don't think there would be any reason that you would have. But I'm sitting at Brandon's bar, and this is that was January 1st, right? That was the Friday.
It was New Year's Day. Yeah.
Yeah. After we had hit it pretty hard the night before, and I was holding Bloody Mary, and I did the phone thing. And I was like, hey, Brandon, you want a drink? And he goes, fuck no. And it was hilarious. And,
man.
And I posted it, and it went, for us, viral.
That's funny.
1,000 views is pretty viral for nobody. And
that's good.
But it was so funny. It should be, obviously the language is, you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
But
I didn't know you were videoing it. That was the best part.
So I surprised you. No, and I'm not saying that it's a problem that I posted it with you saying it.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying like how we manage like marketing it. If we use it as a marketing tool, like we have to be careful with that, because people, goddamn, they lose their fucking minds.
Yes, they do.
Jesus Christ.
So looking back over the notes, I went back. There's like one line, because I break it up into lines, the read, and there's like one entire line that I missed, and I think I got everybody else. So I missed Julie Bosley, Eddie Grid III, Yunker Motorsports, David Mullins. But I think everybody else, maybe Evan Roller, but I might, or Matthew Bishop too. I think those are the only ones. I looking through there, I think everybody else got it. AJ Evangelista at the end, we nailed that one. Thank you, Sherwin, for the help. But that's funny.
Crazy.
It was funny.
You were like,
it was funny.
You started rolling. I'm like, this MFer's going to get them all.
Oh hell no! I knew I wasn't. I knew I could get the first 8 or 10, but that's funny.
Oh, it's funny though, right? And that's kind of what we're trying to do, is like we want to interject this whole Southern NASCAR culture thing, and then the intelligence factor about understanding the sport, and then just trying to goof off a little bit. Just goof off a little bit. It's fun.
Yes. Have a good time.
Yeah, let's
embrace a beverage.
Yeah, let's have a little fun. We're all, look, if you go to NASCAR and you camp and you're not drinking,
right, you're doing it wrong.
What the shit is it you're doing?
Right. Yes.
And I'm not saying you have to drink to have fun, because that's not a thing. You do it however you do it. But we do it how we do it, and this is how we do it. Is we're gonna have a beverage or 7, or 9. And I mean, it's the same thing, I'm still giggling over sitting at your bar. I was sitting, so where Brennan's sitting right now, I was sitting 3 seats away.
Yeah.
And he's behind,
right down there.
He was behind the bar, and I don't know what he was. I think he was preparing ice or something to get ready for that night. And I'm like, "Hey, Brennan, you want a drink?" And he's like, "Fuck no!" And I got all that on video. And it went fucking viral.
Well, so my buddy, hammered, I'll do some dumb shit. And my buddy Zaylen was sitting here, and Lindsay brings down a bottle of champagne at like 1 a.m. And I just start drinking from the bottle. And he goes, "Bet you can't finish that tonight." I said, "That," and I fucking killed a bottle of champagne by myself at 1 o'clock in the morning after drinking all frickin' day. And yeah, so that's what did me in when I woke up on New Year's Day.
You got to love that late night stuff. Like, it's 1 a.m. Well, should I go to bed or should I drink an entire bottle of champagne? And it's like, well, yeah. The champagne will get me where I want to be. That's the drunk thought, right? Well, that's where I want to be. And then you get there and you're like, I didn't want to be here.
No.
Well, how many times did we do that at Waylon's house, Rusty?
Like, all of them.
Hey, everybody's got a bottle of champagne. Let's giddy up.
Oh, man.
Love it. I love it.
And champagne, for whatever reason, has got way too much sugar in it. I mean, that will wreck your next day.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
If you go deep into champagne, you are going to have, even if it's brut, you're going to have a bad next day. That's just going to be a thing.
It was probably like 2 a.m. at a cabin that we were at. I think it was in 2019. And we're at the cabin. And we, for whatever reason, we had several bottles of champagne. Me and Waylon were sitting in a hot tub drinking champagne, and we killed all the champagne that we had. Who knows how much it was. And then I remember us finishing it and then kind of being like doing that head bobbing thing. And I think it was me or him. I can't remember who, but one of us goes, "Well, we finished champagne. Now we're just 2 dudes sitting in a hot tub." We went to bed.
It's probably time to make a different decision.
The thing with me with the champagne is like, when you're used to just drinking vodka, as your drink, and then you throw something in that is not vodka and doesn't have caffeine, like that shit will hit me straight up hard. And I'll joke with Lindsay, like, what was it? I think it was Sunday. Yeah, it was Sunday. I'm like, all right, I can't start drinking vodka Red Bulls yet. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. I want something to drink. I said, you know what? Pour me a glass of champagne. I said, because that's not drinking. That's not vodka. So I don't count that in my total for the day. And she goes, that ain't how it works. I go, it is for me.
Today it works.
Oh.
Yeah, so I'm with you because I don't really count wine that much.
No, that's.
If I don't drink an entire bottle of wine, then whatever glasses of wine I had don't count.
No.
Like that's just anecdotal.
Yes, I'm with you. I am with you.
And I mean, proof concept when I was with you and Lindsay in Detroit, it was like, okay. What? Maybe we should just go to bed. We had options available to drink, and we hit them all from the bar. we didn't just have drinking options.
Yeah.
We had all the other things that were available.
Yeah.
And those were used.
Yes.
Some by a little more by other people than others. But I mean, Lindsay was like, she was a little nervous. Because I talked to her like you were in the bathroom or something, and we talked about it for like I don't know, a minute and a half, and she's like, "What what do you think is gonna happen here with this? And I said, I'm not sure I know. I said, because I know what's going to happen to me based on both variants. And I said, I can handle both because I've processed that before. I've been through both sides of that puzzle. And she's like, do you think Brandon can manage that? And I'm like, we'll just we'll see how it goes, I guess. I don't know. Because at the end of the day, I had a great time in Detroit. It was awesome.
It was great. Oh my God. So much. We got to do it over the summer, and hopefully like Comerica Park will be open, go to a ball game or something like that. Like
I love going to ball games.
Yeah, I literally,
especially now knowing that there are some interesting options available in the state of Michigan.
Yes. Hopefully the bar life will be picked up, and Michigan, June 70 degrees is beautiful. And I would love, I can't wait to go to a sporting event, whatever the first sporting event that we will be permitted to go to, whether it's a Lions game, I will be there. Like the first sporting event that Detroit is allowed to have fans in, I don't care what the sport is, I will be there to support, celebrate, and have a good time with that. So I cannot wait.
Yes.
Oh. Because we need it, and I am jacked to go whenever it is. I am ready.
Hey, did y'all see that? This is totally off topic. Did y'all see that lawyer that logged in with the little cat?
With the cat?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
That's the funniest thing on the internet right now.
Yes, it's winning.
Yeah. Sure. When some, you know how you can do like the Zoom avatars or something, so it's like you can have a helmet on or you can do something else. This one lawyer logs in to like a hearing, but he's got this cat. He's a cat, and the cat its mouth is moving as he's talking, and its eyes are wide open, and so there's this cat going like, yes, I don't know. I know that I'm a cat. I'm not sure. I got my secretary here. She's working on it, but we can proceed. And just the cat's face and the fact that the cat is the one talking. It's the funniest thing. It's straight back to what the internet was made for, cat videos.
I have shared some GIFs today with a friend that I have met on the internet, and it's a cucumber thing, as y'all have probably seen.
Yeah, yeah, yes.
The cat's like eating food.
Yeah,
and
then
sees the cucumber and basically loses its mind.
All right, so I just retweeted it from the PETM account. So yes, be sure to look at our feed or whatever. I just retweeted it from there, and you've got to watch that. It's I've been watching it on loop. It's the funniest thing to see this cat looks like it's freaked out, and in the meantime, the person behind the cat is indeed freaked out. So, I love it.
Oh.
Well, I think Rusty is. So, Brandon, I know you're a dog guy, and you've had dogs. But Rusty and his wife are cat people, and I grew up cat people. But there is hardly anything more funny in the world than kind of sort of fucking with cats.
Oh yeah.
Because they're predators. They just react so much differently.
Yes.
Like they'll freak out a little bit and like they bounce around because they're such good athletes, and it's just so funny. Like, I mean, I was telling a story today to somebody. I'm like, my dad loves cats. My parents love cats so much they're fostering some right now. And I said, hey, no fucking cats. Because our cats fucked their house. The house that I grew up in, they fucked that thing up. Like it needed a lot of work because of cats. And because they just scratch on shit. They just tear shit up. I mean,
Yeah.
not as bad as dogs, but dogs usually only tear up toys. And cats don't really do that. Cats will
Dogs will
scratch.
tear shit up during the initial teething phase. Dogs can fuck some shit up if you're not on top of that. But
Cat-
once you get,
Cats will tear up wood
yeah,
because their claws are so goddamn sharp.
yeah,
But like when Rusty's wife is gone, like out of town, and Rusty and I would hang out and just, I mean, we watch NASCAR or football or play video games or just basically get hammered. And we we would mess with his wife's cat.
Oh,
I
man.
mean, like laser pointer. I mean, you name it, we mess. My dad would grab our cat and throw her 20 feet up in the tree. Like, just pick her up and go, hey, watch this. And just throw her up in the tree and go, let's see what happens next. Like, I mean, he was careful to throw her next to the trunk so she could grab it. Like, he wasn't a total asshole.
hysterical.
But like, he thought that was hilarious.
I mean, I don't disagree.
Like, he's like, I mean, I learned that at a very young age, like 8 years old. Dad would like grab the cat and just pick it up and just heave it up into a tree. I mean, like, let's see what happens next. And I'm like, Dad, that's kind of mean. He's like, I don't know, it'll be funny.
That's great. Ugh. Well,
I
guys,
remember my mom freaking out when I brought a dog in the house because I brought my buddy's dog over.
oh, the cat had to love that.
The cat wasn't around at the time. She was somewhere else. But the problem was dog hadn't been bathed in a couple
Ooh.
days, so
Yeah.
it smelled like a dog. And my mom really don't care for dogs that much. But like I mean, she's a really well behaved dog. No barking. No, it was a Australian Shepherd, a miniature Australian Shepherd. Small dog. I was like, yeah, I had her with me in my car. I mean, it was my job at the time to make sure that she didn't die. And that was my only job. And I was like, I'll just take her with me. And then I was like, I don't want to leave her in the car. I'll bring her in the house. She's fine. She don't make no noise. She's not a problem. And my mom's like, man, that thing stinks. But, I mean, she run around the house, smell everything. She smelled all the cat stuff. And, it's just
Doing dog shit.
doing dog shit.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, this is awesome. And mom's like, I don't know. The dog smells like a dog. And I'm like, yeah, but she's pretty awesome. All she's doing is checking out her surroundings.
Yeah.
Like, she's fine. She's not going to tear anything up. Like, she's just doing dog stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I remember you saying when you came in the house, the night and day difference from when you saw Harvick the last time to when you saw him this past time. Like, that dog is so chill and mellowed out. Like,
Oh,
he
wow.
don't give a shit
That's
about
great.
nothing.
Yeah, but you know why? You know why that is? And this is, I mean, this can lean over into the morbid area, but I think the reason why your dog was so excited and was so reactive is because of that goddamn dachshund y'all had.
Oh yeah, that did not help. Yes.
That little fucker. So you know maybe you know this now, or maybe you're going to learn this now. Dachshunds are responsible for more dog bites than any other breed on the planet.
Did not know that.
They're mean as fuck because they're mousers.
Yeah.
They were bred to hunt. So they are fucking weird.
Yeah.
And your dog, Harvick, is a shepherd.
Yeah.
They're designed to just sort of, hey, let's keep everybody in one spot. Let's just sort of manage.
So they're good for zone defense.
They are really good at zone defense. Like, we'll just keep everybody in this one area.
Yep.
And all they want to know from you is, how much area do I need to operate in?
Right.
And you're like, this is the area. And once they don't have that little fucker that probably bit his Achilles tendon like all day, every day, and y'all never saw it.
Yep.
And he's like, fuck. Like, I need attention from the human because god damn this little fucker over here.
Yes.
and now all that stuff, because, I learned that from horses. Because, like, when you separate a horse from a horse that they don't like, personality changes. Like, I mean, you can snap a finger. As soon as you get them away from that space, it's kind of like, when you're in a bad work condition.
Yeah.
And you get into a good work condition, how much your personality changes, or like how much, like I said, it's a difference between your brain dumping cortisol and your brain dumping dopamine. Like, it matters which chemical your brain decides to dump.
Sure.
Because it changes your behavior so much. Like, if you're in a good situation, managing stress is really easy.
Easy. Yeah. Yep.
You're just like, hey, this kind of sucks, but I kind of understand.
Yeah.
But if it's cortisol, it's like, who the fuck do I need to hit in the face?
Yeah. Peacock mode. Puff up that chest.
Those are wild, and that's just in humans, and we have a much more powerful brain than them. So it's kind of the same thing. I would imagine that little dachshund was probably causing Harvick to dump a shitload of cortisol.
Yeah. Yep.
And now that he's gone, and I hate that.
I'm with you.
It's her dog.
Yeah.
But it changes the whole perspective. I mean, it's the same thing with Zaylen and his pit.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, by all means, his pit was actually fairly well behaved.
It was. It is. It is a really well behaved dog.
But she still needed to be
roped in,
put down.
Yeah.
Like, no, stay. No, you're. And that's what you saw from me.
Yeah.
And my behavior around her was like, I liked being around that dog, but like, you put that, like, you just establish right away, no, this is not okay.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as she started to pop up, it's like, nope. You just put your hand down. You don't hit her.
Nope.
You just put your hand right down there and go, no.
Yep.
Like, I know you're a powerful dog, but you weigh 45 pounds and I weigh 200.
Yeah.
I'm stronger than you.
I will win.
And we need to make sure we establish some sort of level of dominance.
Yep. 100%. Well, boys, I got to get to bed.
Yes, sir. It's been a blast.
It is time. Yeah, no, this was fun. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Can't wait to have you guys on. We'll set something up.
Absolutely. I'll stop.
And good luck in Lap Traffic Fantasy.
Thank you. I'll stop the stream here. YouTubers,